Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and Silas, to the 10th episode of the Attic Phrogs podcast. I can just shot out of a fucking cannon there.
You're just welcoming me in case I...
Yeah, I'm not talking to the people home today. It's our thing because it's 10. No, I don't know. I was a little excited. 10 episodes is a lot. That's more than most people do, I would say, when they're starting a podcast. So I'm proud of us, man.
I know, man. And we're still going with a lot of energy, too. I mean, I feel energized when I come down here to do this.
Absolutely. Me too. It's enthusiastic, you know. We could be either writing shitty songs or we could be doing this, you know, passing our ideas around.
I could be creating shitty logos. And
we could just be doing a shitty job on whatever we do, but we choose to do shitty job at this. So thank you for joining us, and hopefully you're not doing shitty out there, ladies and gentlemen. So 10 episodes, man. I'm really excited going forward. We've bounced around some ideas of what we want to do. You know, a lot of these ideas are hard to find time to do. Like, we want to bring in AI, and we've got this idea for this mannequin that we were talking about. I don't know if we should reveal too many details about it.
Let's keep it under wraps.
You want to keep it under wraps? I mean, well, that's a little foreshadowing.
But teasing is good, though.
Yeah. Well, I like to tease, you know. Tickle their ass with a feather about our mannequin. They're really excited, I'm sure, but it'll be fun. I think we can do some creative stuff.
Yeah, we got some cool ideas with bringing, because we've messed around with AI, videos and stuff a little bit here and there, more so at the beginning, I think. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff in the hopper. Yeah, we've got ideas galore. We just got to find time to get them out. And, you know, you try some things are going to work and some things aren't. And, you know, that's the fun of it. We're building something here. I'm not sure what we're building. Well, and we're starting to get outside and stuff too, you know? Yeah. Man. It's a little bit easier to build things outside. Are you talking when it's nice out? Yeah. Because the weather's getting warmer. The weather's breaking. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Up in upstate New York, we had a week of spring weather here at the middle of March, I guess. Yeah. So that was nice, but now it's cold and snowing out. And my daughter was riding her bike already. Well, we went out bike She's just weaving around the mud puddles and man. Yeah. I was relieved. I went riding my bike with my kids as well. Oh, nice. And I was relieved because I haven't tried to ride it since I tore my ACL a couple of years ago, which I foolishly did. I think I told you how I did it, but we had this Hammer Mill was this heavy metal band that me and all my friends were, surrounded ourselves with. They were this awesome local heavy metal band, right? It probably could have gotten big. It's just, I remember the stars don't align, but they were great. Yeah. Really popular around here. Yeah. And I used to design their T-shirts and stuff, when they started out. I was there from the beginning of the band, and we used to hang out. So that was a big part of my youth, around coming of age. There was this cool scene that I was a part of and shit. So years and years had passed. They hadn't played in 20 years or 25 years. I can't remember. It was a long time. Yeah. And a guy that was associated with that back then, I didn't know this guy personally, but he apparently had cancer. God rest his soul. He ended up passing. Okay. So it was going to be a benefit where they got together and played after 20 some odd years. I think you did mention this one time. On the show, but it was awesome. Well, either way, no, I definitely didn't mention this one on the show. Oh, you didn't? Okay. Nope, all right. Either way. So, this guy, it was supposed to be a benefit to raise money for him. And then he passed before the benefit actually could happen. So it became like a memorial, which was nice. Yeah. Anyway, I started drinking immediately there. It was like reliving some youth. I was feeling great. Seeing all these faces, that were reunion. Yeah, these beautiful faces I remember seeing that I haven't seen in years that were now more weathered and wise, a little more battle hardened. Yeah, sure. But, it was really great to just lock eyes with these people after these years and reconnect. It was beautiful. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. But I also drank a lot of vodka that night, and I'm not a big drinker. So if I'm going to drink, it's probably going to, be a little bit out of pocket compared to some people. Yeah. But anyways, as it turns out, once the band started playing, I was pretty good and ripped. So I saw everybody was kind of standing around. And I was like, this is Hammer Mill, bro. You got right on the bike. I got right on the bike. I was like, this is Hammer Mill. What are we doing? You don't sit still and listen. There's families, people are mourning, there's children. I'm a total ass really for doing this, but I decided we got to have a mosh pit. I mean, that's all there's to it. So I went out and started the mosh pit, man. I started shoving into everybody and I got it going, okay? Yeah. Which is a good thing. It wasn't too crazy. I think I saw a lot of people taking their kids quickly to the edges, which I did feel a little bad about, but this is what Hammer Mill was. Yeah. And that's what that guy would have probably enjoyed. It's a certain level of energy that somebody had to start the mosh pit. Yeah. Now the problem is that I was 45 or how old was I at the time? 47 or 46. Okay. So I'm way too old to start a mosh pit. Yeah. All of us are too old to mosh. Yeah. So I went through a few times and people are starting to say okay, you did great, high five, you're going to get hurt, So they're trying to get me out of there. Right. And sure enough, I was like, one more time, I'm going through that mosh pit. And of course I started. So I'm the asshole there. I'm like, it's like smear the, what with the football.
I'm the target. If I'm coming to the mosh pit, I probably pissed 5 people off I don't even know.
Right.
So, yeah, anyway, somebody throttled me and I felt my knee give out right away. Something was torn. So I went flying through the air. And then as soon as you're in a mosh pit, you don't get hit once. You hit a lot. So
I've been in a few.
I bet here I am with a torn knee and somebody just comes up and just drills me and I go flying another 10 feet the other direction. And now I was sure, like my knee's like flopping in the air, like loosely now. Jeez. And I just limped my way out as like inconspicuously as I could to, I didn't want to look injured. I felt like a pussy for getting injured.
Part of the whole concept of the moshing.
Yeah, I was so mad I got injured, man. So
yeah, right.
Because right away you realize the foolishness of what I was doing. It's like, God damn it, I got to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
And here I am with a torn knee. This is going to be an issue.
Half cocked.
Yeah. So I left soon after. We did the old Irish goodbye and just kind of left, But anyway, so I took like 2 days off. I remember I got my knee swelled up. I went and bought a brace at Walmart. And I took a couple of days off of the swelling to go down so I could get an MRI.
Yeah.
And they ended up doing the MRI, and they said, you tore your ACL and had done a bunch of damage. But
so what do you have to do for repair?
So it never heals.
Right. Okay.
You have to get it repaired, and I don't exactly know what's involved.
Surgery.
You have to have surgery.
Yeah. And you haven't had to do
no because you have to take like 3 months to recover. So the first 6 weeks, from what I was told, you can't even move it. Like you got to stay stationary with this sucker.
Well, somebody like you with your job, that's not really an option.
How am I gonna
unless you really are hobbling around, which I haven't seen that at all.
Yeah. Well, so amazingly, I just been grateful that it worked out this way. But I took those 2 days off of work with my grapefruit-sized knee, and then I went back to work, and I've been working ever since on it.
Right.
And I haven't got it fixed. It's been a couple of years now almost. Right. I work out at the gym, and I don't skip leg day. I did for a while, when it was really bad.
Right.
But eventually I started working it a little bit,
yeah.
And I think I've pushed it enough that it's strong. It's pretty strong now.
Yeah.
So I could ride bike, no sweat. It was no problem at all.
That's what I was going to get.
Yeah. I can jog and run, but I can't jump. So
okay. Yeah.
Which pisses me off because I used to be able to jump, not to brag, but I used to be able to dunk a basketball when I was in high school.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, like that. We got this.
I could get up to the rim, but I don't think I ever
could touch the rim.
Yeah,
nice.
I don't think I could ever. I tried, but I didn't play much basketball. But
right, and I played basketball, but I wasn't very good. But this is something. I had this adjustable rim in the driveway,
Yeah.
And every day I'd come home from school and I'd watch the Michael Jordan Sports Illustrated VHS tape that you get for a subscription.
Yep.
And it would inspire me. I'd see it. They'd show him doing slow motion dunks, those awesome Jordan dunks from back in the day.
Yeah.
So how do you not get inspired? Then I go right out to the driveway and just start trying to jump. And eventually, though, I could dunk, man. It was pretty cool.
So I don't know if I mentioned it before, but my daughter plays basketball.
Yeah.
She's in third, fourth grade. But
Could she dunk or no?
No, she's not dunking. She plays center. Okay. She plays center, so she is tall.
Yeah.
Right.
There's only a couple girls that can dunk. Maybe she'll be one.
It's mostly for fun at that age group.
Yeah.
But I have a basketball hoop on my back deck at my house, and we shoveled it off like 3 feet of snow like a few weeks ago.
Good for you.
The first warmth that came into the air. Me and my daughter went out there and shoveled it.
That's the real deal.
And it's been open. She was playing out the other night. It was 70 degrees at like 7:30. It was great.
If you're not shoveling off your court in New York and putting on the gloves to shoot, whatever you got to do, that's what we did all growing up. That's real basketball fandom.
Yeah.
I loved it as a kid. I played basketball every day before I started smoking pot.
Yeah, right.
Well, I was on the varsity team.
In high school I played lacrosse.
Oh, did you?
But I got caught smoking weed down at the smoking spot. Before school started.
That was a big deal back then.
And the coach was getting out of his car and he looked down. We were like a half block off of campus, right?
Yeah.
But it was kind of a known spot. It was right near my buddy's house and he would duck into these little pine trees. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, I'm blowing out a big hit and I walk out and the coach is looking down there and he's like, well, it doesn't matter. He didn't know if it was weed or tobacco or whatever.
Sure.
But I was on the team.
No matter what,
he made me apologize in front of the whole team. Otherwise, he was going to boot me out. And so I apologized. And, meanwhile, when we used to walk down to practice, like at the fields, we'd stop underneath the railroad tracks and smoke on the way.
Smoke anyway.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, they're not stopping anything. But they used to kind of do that. They probably still do. They hold your feet to the fire if they catch you. I never smoked in school or anything like that.
Okay.
So, but nonetheless. I forgot what we were talking about. So we were playing basketball and stuff and smoking. Dude, I got a crazy story about it. So back in the day, this will be funny because in my local town, it's a small town, Groton, so there's rumors, and I've heard rumors about me that come around, which are hilarious. They're always crazy and blown out of proportion. But anyway, one of them was back when I was like I guess I would be a junior or a senior. I was probably a senior at this point. I was on the varsity team. Like I said, I played basketball junior year.
You were decent then.
But then on senior year, I was a returning varsity player, but I was a bench rider, okay?
Yeah,
so senior year.
I sat on the bench a lot.
They got kids coming up from JV that deserve the spot on the team that are way better than I was. So I was like, I'll just step down. I did the cool thing. I was like, I went to the coach. I was like, listen, there's like 10 other guys here that are way better than me that are coming up from JV. Just give them my spot. You know, I'm going to go get a job or something. He thought that was great. You know, he wanted to get rid of me in the worst way. Okay. So I did him the favor anyway. Then of course I immediately started hanging out with guys and smoking pot, you know, and all that stuff. But funny enough, I was smoking weed during my years in high school in my senior year, but I never smoked during school or anything. Okay.
Yeah. I rarely did.
And I had a car out there, you know, parked across the street from the school. And I don't know if I should admit to this. I think the statute of limitations is done. We're good. Well, anyways, I was in high school. This was way back.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I had a backpack in the back of my car that had this bong that, you know, I used to take around and get everybody high for the first time because I was one of the only people that smoked pot.
In my car too.
Well, I was one of the only guys that smoked pot in my grade, so I was a lot of people's first time smoking pot would be through this fucking bong, and I just get
until my stepdad found it. You tell your story.
Yeah. Then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Anyway, so. One day I happened to, normally I would just get my backpack for school out of the back seat of the car. And this day, apparently somebody distracted me and the backpack with the bong in it is what I grabbed. I didn't even realize this though, until a guy came up to me in school, like at the beginning of the day. And he's like, hey, you got anything in your locker? And I'm like, no, man, I don't bring stuff in school.
Right. Yeah. No.
And then he's like, oh man, good. Cause there's like tons of drug dogs and cops downstairs. They're doing some sort of raid. Now, this was the very first time they had done this in Groton High School ever.
Yeah.
So, I was like, nah, man, I got nothing. I look in my locker and there's the fucking bong bag. I'm like, what is that doing?
What's the odds of that happening?
Oh, it was like, everything just like slowed down. I couldn't hear anything.
Oh yeah, no,
because my mom was the principal secretary, bro. Okay. Like I wasn't just another name.
But I know that exact feeling at that age.
Yeah,
when you realize you're about to get.
Yeah. So I immediately went into survival mode.
Yeah,
and I just like my face after the blood ran out of my face. I grabbed the backpack out and I slung it over my shoulder and I walked directly to the nurse's office because I knew she had a bathroom with a lock on the door.
Oh.
So I went straight there. And as I'm walking down, I took the long way around and I get down and right in front of the main office is, you know, you see the main office when you get down to the first floor and I got to go left to the nurse. There's like 10 cops and these dogs just going, wow, looking at me. And I'm like, holy fuck, they can smell it.
Did they start barking like when you
as soon as I hit the bottom?
Oh, so they were smelling it.
They could smell it. Yeah, I had a bug, you know. So I go, but they're just like, oh, they didn't think anything of it, I guess. Yeah. All the cops were looking at me anyway, but they didn't come after me. Okay. So I go down to the nurse's office and I said, I went right into the bathroom and I just took everything out of there and I threw it in the garbage and like my bowl and anything like that. And then I had the bong in the backpack and I didn't know what I could do with that because this was like a, you know, one of those plastic acrylic, like 3-stage bongs with the stupid wire, you know, the tubes going around and shit. It was like, it was in the 90s, you know?
Yeah.
So I go to the nurse. Light. Then I go into the nurse and I say, I've got diarrhea. Okay. Like really bad. I said, I got to go home. She goes, go ask your mom. My mom's the principal secretary. Okay. She's right in the main office.
Yeah.
So I had to go into the lion's den, man. I go right to the main office, right outside the principal's office. And I'm sitting on the heater with my ass just burning, I remember, because it was the only place to sit. They'd made everybody leave the halls.
Yeah.
Everybody was forbidden to be in the halls. So there was like 30 people in the main office at this point, including me with my bong and my backpack between my legs, sitting by a heater, which is cooking the smell of the bong water.
Oh, man.
You know, so I'm smelling it so strong. And I'm just like, holy fuck.
Yeah, they stink. Right now? They stink.
Yeah, so everybody's chilling. And I see the cops take off with the dogs and they're gone for their sweep, however long that took. Felt like an eternity. And then they go, okay, everybody, they get across the loudspeaker, say, okay, everybody can go back to class now. And as soon as they did, everybody's like in their own, you know, talking. And I go up to my mom and I just go, Mom, the nurse said, I don't feel well. I got to go home. The nurse said, come ask you. So she said, yes, you can go home. So I just walked out. I just said, okay, cool. And I just beelined it for the front doors. So, but picture this now. The whole school just had a lockdown for the cops to walk through. Here comes Brian Dates walking out the front doors of the high school in the middle of the day, in the morning, I mean, with a backpack on, with a bong. And I just walked straight across it. Everybody in the school is facing there. They can all see me. Like hundreds of people saw me.
Right.
Or in the school.
And several of your friends knew exactly.
Lots of people saw me walking to my car directly after. And people, so the rumor was, and I went home and, you know, I got away with this. So it's fair and square. I can't get in trouble.
Well, you went into survival mode. It worked out for you.
It worked out.
Yeah.
However, the rumor around town was that I went running out of school with drugs.
Okay.
So I didn't really get away with a damn thing.
Yeah.
In fact, the rumor was far worse than the reality, which was just some boneheaded move to bring this piece of shit bong into school than a little pipe, you know.
It's the last time you brought that in school.
I didn't even have any weed, luckily. It was only the paraphernalia.
No, but a bong back then would have been just as bad.
I'd have been on the news. They were like, first grade at Grant High School yields bust.
Secretary's son.
Yeah, principal secretary's son.
They wouldn't say the name,
but corruption right to the top. Yeah, man. Shit, I was going to take a lot of people down with me. Yeah. I know I got secrets about that school, but I won't tell that on the air. But yeah,
I had some close calls. Well, maybe not that close. Definitely not that close. But I used to carry weed around in my backpack and stuff. Yeah, right. And it's I would got good stuff back. It's like the original skunk OG. That stuff you couldn't bring it anywhere.
No, you'd smell
the last place you wanted it was in your backpack in school.
No way. Yeah.
So
you'd get in big trouble. So you did that though? You took it in?
Yeah. I mean, I had some one time I remember, and I think I ended up bringing it out to my car or something because I realized that I was not.
Yeah, you were gonna.
I was gonna give it to somebody. I never was like selling it or anything like that. But
well, you know, it was interesting because pot was even in the '90s. Pot really came around. Yeah. Toward the mid '90s, it had a real comeback. There was certain movies I think that did it. Like Dazed and Confused was a big influence on me. You know, I watched that. It was about the '70s, and they were all so cool. I started growing my hair exactly like them. You know, like yeah. And I had a girlfriend. We were both totally, you know, wrapped up in that movie and trying to emulate it. So
yeah.
that didn't help, but it was funny because I came from, you know, a very, you know, parochial background. Nobody smoked or drank or smoked pot for certain, you know.
Yeah.
So I was kind of always the black sheep of my family.
But, you know, I said I smoked rarely during school, but now the more I'm thinking about it, I remember a lot of burn routes at lunch break.
That's funny.
And we would go down to my one buddy's house that was like a few blocks away and like climb in through his window and smoke in his garage because he had like a gravity bong in there.
Nice.
And I want to say he endorsed it, but I don't know. I'd have to talk to him about it.
Yeah.
Get the exact.
Wow. What do you mean he endorsed it?
Well, he said it was like okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you do lots of stuff as kids and you get away with it. Some things you don't.
Yeah.
You know, I've gotten away with almost everything I've ever done. Thank God. And I'm not going to admit it all here. That's
No.
But it's
well, teenage follies and that kind of
teenage
stuff.
Follies. If I get in trouble for that, I mean,
no.
Yeah, it's all alleged anyway.
Yeah.
I might be making this story up. In fact, I am making it up. It's a complete fabrication. Nothing I just said happened, but I thought I made a nice story.
Well, so the weather's getting nicer.
It is.
And we've got lots of plans for the podcast. We're on number 10.
Yeah, let's go back to the beginning. We're just going to cut that whole part right out of here. No,
I was swinging us back around. But
yeah, anybody that's listening is, you know, I'm in a small town, like I said. So that was one rumor that went around.
Yeah.
Another rumor was that I went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, which is now part of the defunct Art Institutes International.
Okay.
Where you don't even get a degree. You spend $25,000, you get a certificate. That's totally useless. Okay. Anyways, I left there because I ran through my money that I had inherited to go to art school with pretty quickly. Upon being dumped into the city of Pittsburgh as a retarded, like, grottenite that had no clue what to do with anything.
That was a good art school. I had a friend that went there too.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good art school. I had a hell of a time. It was fantastic memories. I mean, it was great. I had a really great time. I was there. I met some cool people I'm still friends with to this day on Facebook. Yeah. But yeah, because I came home before I graduated, which was a money issue, people said that I got caught selling acid at art school and got sent home. Really? I swear to God, that's what people told me this from all. It's so weird what people hear. You know? It's like, no, I ran out of money. Sold acid. What are you talking about? I didn't sell any acid at art school. I took acid.
Just because you came home early from school.
Yeah, I think people just get me. It's a game of telephone. Yeah. So I told one guy I took acid. I flunked out
my first year of school and came home and so my parents definitely said, hey, we're not paying for you to go to school anymore. Yeah. Because clearly you're not invested in it. And this is not exactly a cheap thing.
You know, it's a hard thing. It's tough. If you're not, I don't know. Some people are prepared to go out in the world like that. I don't feel like I was well prepared.
All three, I had a quad my freshman year of college. At SUNY Oneonta. It was called Stoniana, right?
Oh, I went there a couple of times and partied. My sister went to school there.
All three of my roommates in the quad were gone after the first semester.
Wow.
One got kicked out for selling weed. Another one was in a frat and never went to class.
Yeah.
And so like he flunked out. And then the other one, also I think flunked out. They were just not going to class. They were smoking a lot of weed.
A whole lot of people. They get there. That happens to a lot of people. You know, it's your first taste of freedom.
Yeah.
And if you're smoking pot and you have social anxiety disorder and whatever else, you know, you're just going to go and try to get in where you fit and find some new friends and just try to enjoy life. You have a ball. It becomes a party. You know, if you're smart, you go to class and you get your shit done. You know, I didn't have that in me, unfortunately. I was always kind of you know, I'll do my term paper the night before.
Yeah, I certainly wasn't ready. Yeah. I was not putting any effort in. And like I said, I had like a, you know, 1 point something average after the first 2 semesters.
Yeah.
Just and they weren't going to, I could have probably pleaded with Oneana to let me come back, but I wasn't motivated. Yeah. And my parents also said, well, we're not going to pay for you anymore. So I went to TC3. Yeah. It's a local community college around upstate New York here and proved myself. I had to pay myself through. I went there for like 3 years, paid my own classes.
Good for you.
And then
you got an associate's from there?
I got an associate's, but I also transferred to RIT into a great art school.
That's amazing.
You know, and got some scholarships because I was actually devoted. And then at TC3, I found graphic design and I was actually motivated.
Good for you.
To do what I wanted to do.
That's excellent. So you did that all by yourself. You put yourself through both schools?
Well, no, RIT, once I got to RIT, I was getting some financial assistance from the family.
Sure. Well, that's awesome. But you had proven yourself worthy of it.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like something caught on for you.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. Did you meet some mentors, or was there somebody that helped kind of?
So you know, deciding to go to the community college for graphic design was really my own thought.
Good for you.
I knew that throughout my teen years, I was very artistic and really enjoyed doing artwork and did some projects here and there where I was designing things. You know, I was in this robot challenge like in the engineering class at my high school.
Awesome.
And I designed the whole shell to the robot.
Oh wow.
You know, like the exterior and all the graphics and stuff.
Sick, man.
And so that was one of the things I'm like, you know, I really
I got a knack for this shit.
Yeah, I really enjoyed doing that part.
Yeah. And you like the praise. You get a lot of praise in a small town too, because when
it was like a robot wars thing. We did it in the lobby.
Oh, awesome.
And we had to collect like ping pong balls. I think ours ended up winning.
Yep. I remember stuff like that.
Yeah, it was a fun little elective class.
That's cool. Were you in, did they have the gifted and talented program at the stretch program? I think they called it. Or?
I don't know if it had a specific name, but I was in advanced math. Like I took calculus and
well, this was a thing that they did in elementary school where they would give you standardized testing. I guess they gave you IQ tests and stuff along the way.
Yeah. I did have one of those done in like 4th grade.
Yeah. They give them to you. It's like, that's about when they do it, about 4th grade.
Yeah.
And I guess if you score a 130 IQ or above, or if you stand out with certain skills that are above and beyond, like artistic talents, things like that.
So my teacher in 4th grade thought that I had a learning disability, right? And so that's why I took that and proved her wrong, you know, through the score.
Right.
You know,
that's awesome. Man.
I just was out there, you know, I had a different, well, you know, I wasn't focusing. I wasn't getting the adjectives and the adverbs correct.
Lots of kids learn differently, you know, that's why. And then you heal out of it or you learn out of it. Like I was terrible in math. I didn't do well, but I was in that gifted and talented program, which I didn't know. I didn't know that you had to have a 130 IQ to do it. So I was kind of happy about it. I was like, I thought I was dumber than that, but I don't know if I do it. Now I don't have confirmation.
I wasn't going to mention it, but I was scored above that. So
awesome. What'd you get?
I don't remember.
We should do an IQ test.
I don't like to boast about it and shit. But
yeah, we should if you got a high IQ.
Yeah. No, I think I'll ask my mom or something.
Yeah, find out. I have no idea what I scored, but apparently it was enough to get in that. So every once in a while, but a lot of people thought that was like some sort of CIA psychic program where they were trying to find exceptional children and recruit them into psychic spying.
Yeah.
Which I love that idea. I wish that was the truth.
I guess,
If they did that
they didn't
to me,
channel you down that.
I don't remember it. If they did it, they may have.
I don't remember any CIA operatives in the in the testing room.
These things must exist. They must have these clandestine and programs where they bring people in for purposes.
Yeah.
Or else they wouldn't have a CIA or a clandestine, agencies like that.
Yeah.
However, when I hear people like, especially in the UFO field, there'll be these guys that talk about being part of like secret space programs. Like there was this guy, Corey Good was his name, totally full of shit. There's not a chance in hell that the guy's telling the truth. And there's other guys that tell a similar story about being recruited as a young man. And then they'll have this outlandish, ridiculous stories, which, maybe if we have alien technology, you could start to, some of it would track, but it all sounds like just kind of it's like con men. I feel like is what it is. So that really sucks when I see that. But I don't believe that there's like secret space programs where people are recruited into them to be like interface with aliens on the dark side of the moon. I believe that there's a base on the dark side of the moon.
Okay, yeah,
but I don't think
that a bit.
I have a hard time believing that there's guys, especially when you see the guys that come forward and say that they were part of it. There's like, no, you weren't.
Right.
There's nothing about you that makes me feel like that's genuine.
Yeah.
You know. So maybe those things exist, but I feel very skeptical.
I feel like until it's going to be beneficial to the, general public to know about these things, people are that if they were involved with classified stuff like that, they're probably going to keep it secret because they know it's better for for society to not necessarily
also
know.
They'll blow your fucking head off,
Yeah,
like
that too.
You have to sign some pretty strict agreements.
Yeah.
Right,
lifetime.
Yeah, you can't talk about it. Some people do on their deathbeds,
Right, and people do go missing, and so I'd prefer to live with the secret than get taken out.
I mean, I do believe if you take an oath to secrecy, then it's really important to keep that oath. Yeah, there's times where oaths are broken because they're evil.
Yeah, exactly. That was my point. Is like if it's better for the general public society to not know.
In general, if you take an oath, you should keep your oath. Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
If a friend confides in you, it's really hard not to like tell like your girlfriend something that your friend confides in you. But you really got to try not to. It's important, for integrity's sake. Like you don't have to share. I take
that kind of stuff heavily.
Yeah, I do too, man. Yeah. I try to like keep. When people tell me stuff in confidence, I try to keep it in confidence. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Unless somebody's going to get hurt. Yeah. If they're going to tell me they're going to kill themselves, obviously I'm not going to keep that secret.
Yeah, absolutely.
But generally, it's a good policy to just keep your secrets.
Yeah.
Anyways, we had a few current events today.
Yeah, we got some
could
stuff.
Get into. Basically, we're looking at. There wasn't a lot in the news today, but Iran, the war is going on there. So
dragging. I mean, it's dragging on. I guess.
Well, it hasn't gone that long though.
I know it's been. It's if you look at it, it's like a
couple of weeks or whatever.
2 weeks.
Yeah, it hasn't been long. So there's been a lot of action. I'd like to have some real stats about how much we're destroying. I haven't looked into that because there's a lot of propaganda in war, like we were saying earlier. Like,
well, it's hard to get that information.
It is. Yeah. There's a lot of information that's hard to get from official sources. So, but we did learn a few fun things like. First of all, Hegseth came out and gave an update, and he said he tried to say that all the planes that they see in the skies above Iran all have stars or stripes or the Star of David.
So we have 100%.
We have air superiority.
Yeah, I would say that's official at this point.
I think that's what they're trying to say. So if they're dragging it out, everybody's afraid of a quagmire, but I think that I think they may be taking it easy a little bit. I really do. I feel like they could easily decimate. Obviously nuclear weapons aren't something we want, but they could easily decimate whatever they bring up. I mean, their technology is not that great. It's like their drones. We were learning about their drones.
Right.
Which it turns out a lot of them are reverse engineered from American companies, where these front companies will set up in Europe and then they'll order drones from the United States and have them sent there.
Parts, right?
Parts, components, like
they'll
GPS
compile
modules.
Them in Iran, but
right, like they had some, like they had GPS modules and different parts, microcontrollers and different little pieces that you use for it. Right. But they came from like Texas Instruments and these American
Intel.
Companies. Right. And they'll send them over to Europe through these legitimate companies that are mostly front companies. Yeah. And then they'll just ship them on down to Iran. And they only have to buy so many. I mean, they can remake a bunch of them.
Right. Components. Well, and they probably did. They've obviously done this for a long time because they built thousands of these things. I think they still have a lot of drones left. I mean, it's their go-to.
They're cheap to build.
Their go-to weapon for right now. It's really, I mean, because
what are they balsa wood and gunpowder? I mean, I don't know what.
Well, now they're doing it with the boats, right?
Yeah,
too.
Yeah, those skiffs. What did they call them?
Suicide skiffs.
Suicide skiffs. So apparently they have these boats that they're sending into our vessels that are just.
In the Strait of Hormuz.
In the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah, they've created drone boats. They're disguising them as fishing boats. Like they said they look like wood. We were trying to find some pictures of them, but I think it's a fairly new development.
Yeah. Guerrilla warfare is crazy.
These are unmanned. They're the same thing as the flying drones. They're just on top of the water.
Yeah.
And they can drive these things into big, shipping ships, container ships, military ships.
So they got to be dealing some damage with those, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to hear about all of it, but there's clearly the oil prices are rising and there's different things. So everybody is worried about a quagmire like we experienced with Iraq.
Yeah.
And they came out and immediately, declared mission accomplished with George W. Bush on the, USS, whatever it was.
Yeah.
somebody just went by with a Mustang or something that was loud. Anyway, so it's really hard to know what's true and what's not. But it seems to me like we're taking out. They claim that the brand new leader of Iran, the brand new supreme leader. I guess they're a dime a dozen. You could be the supreme leader. You just get in line, and then they injured him and severely maimed him as well, or something like that.
And it's odd to me because
mutilated.
The last thing I heard was that Trump didn't approve. I mean, he's saying he needs to be in control of selecting the next leader of Iran.
Mm-hmm.
How that's done, I'm not really sure.
Same way it's always been done.
Yeah, I know.
It's like regime change war. So they're trying to pretend it's not a regime change. That's what it is.
But I don't think we're going to be able to do it without going in there and physically controlling with troops on the ground. I don't know.
People have been afraid of Iran for a very long time. Now, without a nuclear weapon, I don't know how scary they actually are in reality, but it sounds like they have a shit ton of drones, a shit ton of missiles, even though we're taking out their capabilities.
Right.
Apparently they're dangerous. I hope we can get this to a swift conclusion.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's heading that way.
Yeah.
I think the Strait of Hormuz is really the last sort of issue right now.
Yeah.
Well, okay, and surface level. I'm saying here, without having background information.
Well, quite frankly, there's a small list of countries who happen to be our enemies who don't have their currency controlled by a Rothschild central bank.
Right.
And Iran's one of them.
Okay.
So we've been picking off anybody that's not controlled by a Rothschild central bank has been slowly getting picked off through the war on terrorism. We had Iraq, Afghanistan, all those, these places. North Korea isn't controlled by a Rothschild bank, I guess.
Yeah.
Russia.
Right.
So those are our enemies for that reason. If they had Rothschild central banks, they would be friends of Israel and friends of the Rothschild family, and they'd be in our coalition. But and that's basically where the line of demarcation is now between friend or foe.
Yeah.
And clearly we were going to war with Iran. Trump admitted basically that Jared Kushner talked him into it, or told him that we were about to be attacked. And if we didn't attack them, they were going to attack us.
Yeah. I mean, right before it started, it sounded like we were on a decent page with the discussions that we were having.
They were trying, but they were threatening to assassinate Trump a lot.
Right. So there was, it was.
That's making him paranoid.
Yeah.
If they had anything to do with crooks, which maybe they did, we haven't really gotten a lot of it. There's been a lot of cover-ups, I feel like, between Charlie Kirk and Thomas Crooks.
Right. Unless you got, inside intel and you got, you're part of the decision making. Like you learn all this stuff long after it's over.
Yeah, you learn unless you're on top of it. And luckily,
we do.
Thank God we have like Twitter and these free speech places that'll tell you this shit.
That's true,
right? Because we'd never hear about it.
It's a lot different than it used to be.
Yeah,
I mean, you can, and there's people, putting things out right from the action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What Elon did to keep free speech alive in that case. Now, I don't go to Twitter much. I haven't been there in a long time. And I like Grok,
Yeah.
But Twitter to me just feels like I can only take small doses of it. Yeah. Because unfortunately, algorithmically, if you're on the right, they do send you a lot of shit that you just don't. Like I don't necessarily identify with.
That's interesting. Yeah, no, I think
it's a far right. There's a lot of far right material. There's a lot of racist material. There's a lot of stuff I don't like seeing, and it'll come up in Facebook too. I've got this girl. She's kind of pretty, a little brunette chick. She's super racist.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's allowed on Facebook.
Right.
It comes up in my algorithm.
It should be flagged, like depending on what they're saying. Yeah, I mean, usually it is.
Believe me, what she's saying is outrageous. I mean, but it's like. She gets away with it for whatever reason.
So I started using X actually in just the last few weeks.
Have you?
And I'm using it to go and get those immediate video action stuff that people are posting. Well, they're just off of cell phones.
Right.
And you can get a good glimpse into what's happening because you don't hear about this stuff on the mainstream news or the actual action of when things are happening.
Right.
But when people are posting it,
that's the hub.
And you still have to have a good mind and sort through what's correct, an AI obviously.
Yeah, you got to watch for that.
I think we're getting pretty skilled at being able to spot AI stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But,
yeah. Well, getting back, like I believe in free speech.
Yeah.
There's abhorrent speech.
Yeah.
And you can believe in the right to have free speech without liking a lot of the speech you hear. I don't like censorship. I don't like being censored.
Yeah.
However, I can see how, certain things, I can see why they have some parameters and limits because it kind of dirties up the place when you let these people in. I think that's the problem with Twitter. It's like, yes, I don't know if I've just become accustomed to a more manicured reality because of the censorship that these big tech platforms have been putting in over the years.
Yeah.
I think I've been kind of like, almost like kowtowed. I don't know if that's a word, but I feel like I've been my tolerance for things that are objectionable may have been manicured down.
Okay.
And maybe I need to spend more time in Twitter so I'm not as, because it's really important that we are able to say what we want. Even the people who are disgusting and,
Yeah. I
in,
feel
in
like
the,
there's a ton of rhetoric on X, just people just blasting off stuff that, it's just their opinion. It's not necessarily factual. There's a lot of back and forth arguments, a lot of social media. I mean, X does it. I don't think you're missing.
Well, I'm thinking maybe I think I'm just realizing this now though, that maybe I need to spend more time in that atmosphere so that I don't want to clutch my pearls at people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I got you.
I'd rather just ignore them. So I'm intentionally staying out of Twitter because I don't like seeing the far right stuff and the racism, but at the same time, I'm cutting myself off from a lot of good information. So I think it's part of, you kind of get domesticated in a way. Like I feel like I just realized now how domesticated my viewpoint had become.
Yeah.
In a way, because I don't have to, I can just skip past these people.
Right.
But they can turn you off because it's turds in the punch bowl and you're always going to have them, but you just got to ignore them. If you do your own censoring and manicuring, you don't need anybody to do it for you.
Yeah. I've done a good job of starting to sort things through. Yeah. And looking at both sides, looking at that stuff that, that I don't necessarily agree with, but building a general perspective on where they're coming from and why they're coming that way, depending on whatever topic it may be. I think it's just my responsibility to invest time in that.
Yeah. That's good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have to keep aware, metacognition is so important to me. That's a term I recently learned where you're aware of your behavior in the moment.
Yeah.
And if you can catch yourself. So like I try to do that every once in a while, I'll say something. Then I'm like, well, let's get that a second time. Maybe that's the Gemini. You probably have that too. Like that strong Gemini instinct to have the twins, look at it from both directions.
Yeah.
But I try to do that a lot.
It could be a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. We've, doing the same shit over and over that's not healthy. You got to try to catch yourself to make the change. You got to see the problem before you can make a change. So anyway, So in my case, I learned tonight that maybe I'm becoming a little bit of a pearl clutcher.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Well,
and maybe I should just be,
I think that's
concentrate on leaving
a healthy realization.
Yeah. I don't want to be a pearl clutcher. That's the last thing I am.
Well, if you want another person's perspective, I would say that I don't see that in you. So
thanks. I'm being self-deprecating. I'm shocking as hell. I say crazy
part
shit.
of our open-mindedness.
Yes, it's good. Thank you for that, though. Yeah, that's good. That's nice of you to say. Anyways, so that's basically it with Iran. Hopefully, we can just get this under control. But some of the other stuff that we were looking at today. So, I was going to talk to you about the first time we realized as kids that we would one day die. Do you? And I asked you on the way down here. You said, "Hey, do you have any topics to think over while I'm driving down?" And that was the one I thought about. I wrote down in my book here a couple days ago.
Well, I think it's on people's mind, right? These days,
death isn't really a fun topic.
No, it's not.
But we have to know about it. Yeah, I don't want you to. Death is never a fun subject, and I think people are rightfully uncomfortable to speak about it because we don't like to think about this coming to an end. But there was a time as a child, I remember the day very vividly when I realized I would die.
Yeah, where you understood the concept.
Yeah, it was funny because I was in my grandmother's house and I used to stay at her house a lot. And I was so comfortable one night. I just remember being in this warm bed and I heard her little calendar clock ticking in the background. And just all the sounds in the quiet of grandma's house, which was my really comfortable, safe place as a kid. And I just remember being so content that it actually forced me to the realization that, this could come to an end. This will come to an end someday for me. Because I was thinking, will this ever end for me that I feel this good? And I was like, yeah, actually.
So it was a self-realization.
Yeah. It was like I went from feeling the ultimate contentment to being faced with the reality of death right away. And it was just like this stark juxtaposition. And I remember just staying awake most of that night, just feeling like,
wow, yeah.
Really kind of, it's just a frightening concept as a kid to realize, this is
going to end. Well, you go through a good portion of your childhood, feeling alive and happy and
invincible,
and you encounter trials and struggle for sure. I mean, I know I did as a kid, not growing up wealthy and things like that, but you don't really necessarily think about dying, just like
it's not a nice
I'm getting
thought.
Picked on at school because I'm wearing a homemade shirt or something, but
homemade
that's like the worst of it. It's not like, oh man, I'm going to actually not make it out of here one day.
Yeah, it's a
just
weird
like everybody, but
and you wonder if there's adults who have never really come to that realization sometimes because
it's
so there's just a lot of NPC type people. You wonder how deep they even will even entertain these thoughts. Some people never do.
So do you think it changed your sort of mindset that after that?
I think it put the fear of death in me, and that's about it. And that carry all of us probably carry the fear of death to some extent. Now there's these daredevils and different people who clearly like to cheat death. And they're, by and large, from what I understand, there's a psychology behind those wingsuit guys. A lot of them get very depressed, and they have to have these jumps to get the adrenaline to feel alive. And it's the only thing that like makes them want to live. So basically these are suicidal people who are living for the thrill. Yeah. And they're willing to die. And so it's a win-win for them.
Right. I've never known any, but there was a pretty prominent one that died about a month and a half ago.
Oh, really?
He was in Australia, maybe, but he jumped off of it was an illegal jump, and he was like one of the best in the world. Okay. And he messed up and he died within seconds.
How did he die? Did he hit rocks or?
He did. Yeah, he came down through some sort of ravine and just miscalculated.
I remember that.
And there was a bunch of people like walking right there.
Yeah, there was people right there.
It sounded pretty
gnarly. Yeah. You could hear the sound when he hit, right? Yeah, I did see that. Yeah. Well, there was another one a while back. They hit a bridge, like he was going over a suspension. He was trying to go through a suspension bridge. Right. Like, I don't know if he was trying to go through the guy wires or whatever they call them, but he didn't quite make it.
That's like
he exploded.
Yeah, man, jeez.
But they call it going in when you die. They're like, I'm going in or whatever. There's a lot of those guys do have their last jump, but I guess a lot of them make it and they keep doing it. I don't know what happens.
Right. I would say there's definitely some talent involved for sure.
It's amazing. I love watching those wingsuits.
Yeah.
Wingsuits
is just one of it. I mean, it's like extreme sports too, or, just even
the mountain bikers,
BMX biking.
BMXing, those mountain bikers that jump off those trails and shit. Yeah. It's crazy, man. I love it. The precision.
Yeah. It's pretty exciting to watch.
Ballsy.
Yep.
Ballsy. Well, anyway, so what was your remembrance of?
Oh, yeah. Well, so, I mean, I feel like probably all kids go through this at some point, I was probably, I don't know, maybe 7, somewhere around there, maybe younger. But as a kid, I had like I had a bump in the back of my neck. It was just like a natural cyst for like my whole life. Right. And so, but I got to the age where, like I always like touch it and stuff. And like, I think I asked my mom about it, and she told me about this whole thing called cancer. Right. And so I was like, well, what's cancer, Mom? Like, what are we talking about here? And it clearly wasn't. And it actually has gone away at this point in my life. But that the conversation I had with her and her explaining what cancer was and how it affects you and how people pass away from it, I remember being really scared. I'm like, Mom, am I going to die?
Yeah, it scared you. And that was the first time you realized you could die.
Yeah. So it was that conversation I had about death with my mom, and cancer specifically.
Fear of death is good. I mean, in a way, because it's like you should fear death in a way so that you live well. And that you don't do harmful things, Yeah.
It's crazy. But remembering like where I was, I even remember like where I was in the house.
Sure.
I was right by the wood stove, and I remember, and I was like looking in the mirror in the bathroom and like trying to figure it out. And she's, obviously like, oh, you don't have to worry about it. You're going to be fine. Sure. Yeah. But I remember getting scared physically. Yeah.
The genie was out of the bottle at that point.
Right.
You can't put it back in. It's kind of like telling your kids Santa Claus isn't real. Yeah. Which my kids hopefully won't listen to this. Actually, I'm just kidding. It's real. Anyways, it's really interesting. And I wonder, I wonder if everybody remembers it. You would think they would, have a memory of the first time they thought of it, because it's a pretty stark like watermark in your life's journey.
And I think there's a difference between understanding the concept for the first time and then having an incident where you may one time I was stuck underneath one of those huge rafts.
Oh yeah.
Where you could get like 10 people on, and I couldn't for whatever reason. I kept coming up and I was still underneath the thing. Yeah. And I was like this close to
you were out.
Sucking down a bunch of water.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And I just did one last push and I came up and I was fine. So
scary.
But that scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Almost dying is very scary. I almost drowned as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bad feeling.
Yeah.
Drowning.
Yeah.
It's scary.
I was on a whitewater rafting trip in West Virginia. There's a thing called the Gauley River And people come from all over the world during gully season where they have like this dam, and then the Forest Service lets out the water, and they have rapids, and they're crazy rapids, right? So there's the upper gully and the lower gully. And I'd been a couple times to like Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania with the Boy Scouts when I was young. I'd done some whitewater rafting, nothing major. It was like class 2, 1, 2,
I've done
and 3.
it once. It was a blast.
Yeah, like class 1, 2, and 3 rapids. They're fun, but it's not death-defying shit most of the time. People die doing it.
Yeah, sure.
Nonetheless, so I'd already done it. I did it twice with the Boy Scouts and then once out in the Snake River with my father on a family vacation to Wyoming. So I thought I was like good to go. So I had this new friend down in West Virginia I'd made, and he called me up and said, hey, I've got a friend with a raft and he wants to do a pirate tour, which is where they don't go with one of the companies that you go get a raft from. He had his own. We were just going to go on our own.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess he called it a pirate tour. I don't know if that's a terminology, but anyway, so then they needed enough people to fill the raft. So he asked if I wanted to go. I was like, sure. You know, I immediately was terrified. I was like, I just had a bad feeling. And I was like, I can't be a pussy here. I got to say yes.
Did you see the rapids before? Like
I saw disaster. And I was like, I'm going to say yes because I feel like I can't be a pussy here. I got to face my fear and take on this challenge. So it was a couple of months away. So I had time to get myself ready. I felt like, well, then the time approaches. It was October. And so it was getting cold. And we drove the day of it. We drove up there. And I remember on the way, we were on Interstate 64, and it was about 10 or 11 in the morning. And there was a great horned owl standing in the shoulder of the road.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was just standing there. Like, I was like, what the fuck? I immediately got on my phone. I go, guys, that's an omen. Yeah. When you see a great horned owl at 10 a.m. on the side of the interstate looking at you, that thing was awesome. It was like 3 feet tall. Yeah.
They are big. Yeah. I've seen them.
And it was just watching us like a totem on the side of the road. So I looked it up, and it said that owls can be a sign of imminent death and destruction and shipwrecks.
Right.
Like signs of shipwrecks. Yeah, dude, they mentioned shipwrecks. I'm like, great. So I told the whole car, we were all like, it was fun. But I think we were all scared. Honestly. Yeah,
no, it's definitely a risky thing to be. It's like skydiving. Well, skydiving is maybe even a little bit more because I did that. I did that once.
Holy shit! Nice.
But I think the fact that you had to wait 2 months probably didn't help.
It didn't help. So
I would have rather.
Well, on top of that, for 2 weeks straight before I left, it had rained.
Oh.
So it was everything was flooding. It was raining.
Was it in West Virginia?
West Virginia. It's been raining its ass off. So I didn't even consider that until the day of it. I'm like, holy shit, the water's going to be up.
It's probably up, right?
So when we got there, I could hear as we're driving down this dirt road to get down to the water where we were going to launch.
Yeah.
I just hear this roar, and I was like, fuck, my stomach's just in knots because I'm not a big adventure guy like that, And sure enough, we get there, and the water is like, I don't know what CFM it was, but I think it was like
rating scale.
It's like cubic feet per.
Yeah. Well, then they have different class rapids. And
yeah. So the class 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I believe.
Okay.
Now these were basically all class. Everything that used to be like a class 3 was now like a class 4. Everything was a class 4 was now a 5 because the water was so high.
Wow.
And the people that were given the tours that were on that river every day, all day, were claiming they were having injuries all day long. One guy broke his femur. People were breaking their noses. Oh, nice. I was like, and they're talking. I'm just looking at this water like, this is crazy. I can't believe I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
But I got in the fucking raft, and sure enough, man, the water was cold. The water was so high. It was crazy. And I tried to just have fun and be courageous. And I fell out of the raft. And I just remember floating down. All you can do is be in the Jesus Christ pose because the water current is so strong. You just go with it and you get sucked way down. I just remember seeing all these gigantic boulders under the water.
No kidding. Wow.
And I would just be going for the ride, and then you eventually get out where you can kind of swim to shore. Mm-hmm. So I had ended up falling out 2 different times, which was terrifying in itself in this kind of conditions, especially.
For sure.
Cold ass water. My lips were blue by now.
Yeah.
So I get back in the raft. Now, a couple of other people had fallen out too, but I'd fallen out twice and I was done. And I was like so cold. And I said, guys, there's only a couple more rapids, right? There was like one, and one of them was called Pure Screaming Hell, which is on the lower gully. Now, people who ride the gully all the time are going to think, that's not a big deal to these people. But this day was pretty bad. And I said, so what Pure Screaming Hell is there's a big boulder that's gigantic.
Yeah.
And on the right side is a sieve, which I assume is just kind of like a tunnel of rocks where the water goes through on the other side. It's just a pile of rocks with a passageway through there. And then there's the hole, which is just this spinning fucking water that you don't ever want to get down in.
Right.
And I said, dude, I don't know if there's an easy way around this particular set of rapids, but if we could go to the easy part so I don't fall in a fucking boat again, I'd be really appreciative. I said, I don't want to be a pussy here, but I've been out twice and I'm freezing. And they were like, we'll try. So,
well, you're probably the one putting in the most work if you're the one falling out, because you're on the edge, like paddling.
And God rest the guy. He's passed away now. His name was Charlie Urban. He was a local legend in Lewisburg, West Virginia. This guy was amazing. He drove a Ford Ranger with like thousands of figurines all over it. And he was a clown.
Yeah.
But he was a super cool dude and a badass Vietnam vet guy. But he ended up getting ALS right after this. And he went from being like the toughest fucking dude with dreadlocks I'd ever seen to like being in a wheelchair. He was the bravest, coolest dude ever. Yeah. Anyway, this was his rap, at the time. He'd been down that fucking river millions of times. So to make a long story short, we're coming up to the boulder. Yeah. And he goes, okay, we got to paddle. He's telling us what to do. And I'm in the front of the boat and I'm just paddling on the right front as hard as I can to listen to his commands. And then I'm not even looking up because I just want to get through it. And then I hear him go, okay, we're going to fuck up here. And I go, fuck. And I look up and we're going right toward this boulder. We're supposed to go to the left side of it. And he had told us coming up, he goes, whatever you do, you don't want to fall on the right side of that boulder.
Oh, go through the sieve.
The sieve. Right. So sure enough, we hit that fucking boulder and the raft goes straight up in the air. And I go flying through the air out of the raft to the right side of the boulder through the sieve. And I'm just getting tossed around. I just remember, you don't have time to take a breath. So you're just down there, and I was getting tossed around in 360 degrees. I don't know what was happening to me, but eventually I slammed into a boulder with my leg, and I swore it snapped my femur in half.
And that water's powerful, man.
Luckily, it was a deep thigh contusion, but I swore my leg was broken. So I just remember at that point, I was like, I'm dead. And I just went into the Superman. I was like in a Superman pose, facing upstream as I'm getting sucked through this sieve. And it's pure blackness because I'm in rocks. I'm in some tunnel of rocks or whatever the fuck it is. And I was saying goodbye to everybody I loved in my mind because I don't have any breath and I'm in the blackness and I have no power to do anything. And I figure I just broke my leg. So I'm probably about to die. And just then, as I'm about to fucking die, I just saw I had my eyes closed and I saw the brightness coming back because I was coming back to the surface. Thank God it spit me out. And I felt like I was washed in the river, like I was judged and she deemed me worthy.
Yeah.
And
that sounds pretty intense,
I was reborn from that day. I really was. A lot of things changed.
The last thing you want to do is go through the sieve. Don't go in over.
I made it through the sieve. And so did my friend Michael down there. He went through it too. And he'll attest it was no fun. But man, I limped for weeks after that. I hurt my leg so bad. But it really, first of all, I'm never going to whitewater raft again. So don't ask. Second of all, though, I really feel like it was a turning point in my life because I survived it, but it was the closest I'd ever come to dying.
Right.
And it really made me kind of just lit a fire in me of some sort.
Yeah. No, those
it brought me closer to God too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think as an adult too, that it definitely can change your approaches to things in life.
If I died that day, I like to think sometimes that we don't die. Like you just continue living. You don't realize you died and you're in some alternate, reality where it's just one click over and you just go on living thinking you're alive. I would like to think if I died that day that I feel like I'm living a heavenly life, man, because
apparently I must have too, because I think I'm in your reality right now. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, dude, we're in there, but I'm not sure you're here, man. I'm disassociating right now. No.
All right.
But it was a crazy thing to happen. And anyway, by almost dying like you did as well.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as dramatic, but it's a similar feeling. You get the same feeling when you're not sure if you're going to make it.
Yeah, and that's a scary feeling. But you have to be grateful for every day you're here. I mean, we're all going. That's the great equalizer, and you can't hide from it. Yeah. And someday will be your moment. And we all hope that we can have courage in that moment. There's a lot of ways to go, a lot of bad ways, but there's a lot of natural. They say died naturally. It all sucks, but it is part of. It is the only thing we're owed, as they like to say. You're owed nothing in this life except your own death. So I have to, maybe it's a reward.
Yeah, I would say so.
And not something to fear.
Yeah, and I think at our age, we've had those experiences, and we're also very motivated to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, man.
In a way where we can be around for the people that love us.
Yeah, I quit smoking blunts, man. I started smoking weed after quitting for many, many years. I started smoking it because you and I went to that Mark Norman show.
Yeah, it was about a year ago.
Yeah, and I bought a pre-roll, and I was like, I don't like to smoke, but because I'm going to go see Mark Norman, I want to laugh my ass off anyway. I'm going to smoke this joint on the way in. And God damn it. I started smoking. I was looking at the hundreds of roaches and shit everywhere. I've been smoking blunts crazily.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I was like, it's just like being a smoker again. So I got up the other morning, I just threw every bit of paraphernalia away, and I haven't had one since. I have a bong hit like in the evening, just a couple of bong hits in the evening, and I'm good.
It's cleaner too.
Yeah,
I've made some big strides recently, and taking care of myself.
Trying to quit too.
I'm not gonna boast about it until I'm really where I want to be, but I'm definitely taking responsibility for my.
It's just a decision
for the things that I choose to do, and
it's all a choice.
And I mean, physically, I mean, my health is what I'm talking about.
Yes,
right now.
Yeah, of course,
it's important. And man, the times I have with my kids, I want to continue that forever.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, me too. I want to be here for them. I gotta get them to adulthood somehow.
Yeah,
I feel like,
right.
If they can, once they can take care of themselves, I'll feel a little more.
Yeah, that's a good milestone. You succeeded at something big there.
Yeah, then I'll start riding motorcycles again.
There you go.
Like that,
Yeah.
Well, anyways,
so
speaking of driving, I'll
yeah.
start building again. Well, speaking of driving, we were talking about subjects. Rules of the road was one that I came up with the other day because I was at a 4-way stop, and people are retarded, man. You pull up to the 4-way stop, it's like couldn't be easier. If you showed up first, you get to go.
Yeah.
But people can't seem to get it through their head. There's always those people. They'll try to jump in front of you. I don't let them. I'll tee them. I go right at them.
Or the people that they don't even stop barely.
If you try to go at me, I'm going too. You better hope you get past me because I'm coming.
Yeah.
And if you jump in line, that is so infuriating to me.
Yeah.
Because it couldn't be more impolite. This is so simple.
Yeah.
Whoever's there first goes.
It's to take turns, man.
Yeah, it couldn't be easier.
Right.
So you got to be a real prick unless it's an emergency and you're on your way to the hospital and you start coming up flashing, then you better have some kind of an indication. You just pull in front of me, I'm coming at you. Well, and I've been trying to work on my road rage.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm known to have a little road rage.
It's funny. Today, coming down from Syracuse, I had a couple incidents where people were just driving like complete idiots in front of me.
Yeah.
And I found myself, and I even noticed it. And this was before
calling them names.
This was before you texted me about, talking about this a little bit tonight. But I felt like I had the most road rage today that I've had in a couple months.
Well, speak of the devil, man.
So,
that's funny.
All right.
So road rage is no bueno. Yeah. And that's something that.
And I just yelled.
It's an Italian trait.
In my car. I didn't flip them off or anything.
No, good. That's good.
But,
Yeah, well, I try to catch myself. So part of working on my road rage is that I try not to call people names in the car because you're just like, yeah. And it's like, I try to be like, why am I saying that to this person? This poor fucking person has no, and you try, that's that metacognition.
Well, the worst is when your kids are in the back and you, I do it and I completely slip.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, shoot. I'm looking over my shoulder. I'm like, I just dropped a couple F-bombs and called them as,
Oh, yeah. I'm notorious for it, too. And my kids will tell you. Yeah, they've got some stories to tell.
So, but there's lots of ways.
Well, So, for instance, at a 4-way stop also. The other thing is, it's not the time to be polite. It's only the only thing to do is to just wait. If you're there first, now you go. Because if you're polite and say, you showed up first and now I come just a little after you, the wave on is polite, but it's a pain in the ass. Just fucking go.
Right.
It's your turn. Go. I don't want to, because then you're doing like back and forth. Now we've wasted so much time.
9 times out of 10, the people that do that were there before you and they wave you on.
They pull out
anyway. If you
wave
them on, they'll keep doing it.
It's like then you both start pulling
out. It's
like
passive aggressive thing.
It's retarded. It's shall we dance? When you're trying to get around somebody in the hallway, and I just can't stand it. So it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
So I won't. If somebody waves me on, just gotta go.
Yeah.
Never giving them back this one. But
I
it's really annoying.
I know.
Tailgating.
Tailgating, yeah.
People tailgating me drives me nuts.
Well, that can be done in a dangerous way or in a really aggressive way.
There's people doing that. That'll do that to you.
Once, if they're pissed off, if they have road rage going on, that's where it can get dangerous.
Yes. Yeah. I've had some pretty nasty people on.
But then there's the idiots that tailgate and they don't even really understand they're doing it.
That's a different story. Just because you're a stupid teenager or something, you're tailgating, But, I'll brake check a little bit. I know you're not supposed to do it. But if you're right on me, I'm going to probably flash you a light.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just
to check to see if you're doing it intentionally or not.
Well, I've had some incidents, man. I try not to chase people down anymore. It's bad. I've jumped out of the van a couple of times with the family and everything because it's here's the thing, I had a guy that was tailgating me aggressively, being a prick.
Yeah.
You think he was flashing and honking everything.
Clearly doing it on purpose.
Just being a jerk. It was a couple of guys, and they thought they were tough guys, I guess. I don't know what their deal was. But I took a right, and I pulled over in the first place I could, and I jumped out of the van and just tried to get them come back. And they're driving down the road, hitting the brakes,
Yeah.
But I was fired up.
Well, when you got your family in the car, dude.
That's my thing. I'm defending my family,
Yeah, you
bro.
go into, defense mode, and I'm going to protect my family.
I have my 2 children in there and my woman, and you're going to
They might see dad, throwing some hammers, but
they're going to see dad fighting for their honor. If nothing else, because I was like, this is dangerous too. Like you're putting my family in danger doing this.
Exactly.
What are you trying to pit maneuver me? You know, because I'm going 5 miles an hour less than you want to go.
Yeah.
So, anyways, there's been incidents in the past. You know, I won't get into them, but I haven't had any arrests or felonies, or I haven't hurt anybody. That's good, and I haven't gotten hurt. Even better.
Yeah.
You know, like it is just a level of anger where you got to draw the line.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think road rage is healthy. For
no,
anybody.
but I mean, you hear about it all the time. Yeah,
but you're in a missile. You know, you're in a 2-ton missile.
It's a weapon if you want to use it.
Yeah,
that way. But then there's just then it gets into the whole like just the loss of driving etiquette in general. I don't know if it's a generational thing. I don't know what it is. But like you see people on the highway. The highway is an easy one to give examples, like passing in the right, just staying in the left lane.
Yeah,
you know.
Oh yeah, that sucks.
Just they will never move over. They have
over.
no consideration for anyone else.
Well, and how do you not swear and point at that person when they're driving by? You know, it's really hard. But the older I get, the more I'm keeping it under control.
No blinker, not using blinkers.
No blinkers. When you're sitting there at a stop sign, you're waiting. Here comes the car, and you're like, well, he'll give me an early blinker, right? If he's going to turn, no. Most people won't.
That's what the one today was. I was behind somebody in the left lane.
If they give you one.
Yeah, right. I was behind someone in the left lane. It's raining, so it's shitty conditions, snowing. And the guy's going like 10, 15 miles an hour under the speed limit.
Yeah.
Right? Just staying in the left lane.
Nuts.
And there's a car in between us, and they wanted to get past. And so eventually I just got in the right. I'm like, I'm not going to wait another 10 miles, I'm just going to go around them on the right. Of
course.
Eventually you lose your patience.
Yeah, you can't.
And then as I get over, the guy slowly drifts over in the right lane with no blinker, still going the same speed.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what the fuck?
Was he old? I mean, I give old people
I passed him, and it was like a middle-aged guy.
Dude, to me, I
looked over. He didn't look at me. I wasn't.
Well, fuck yeah. Because nothing makes me feel like more of a dick than when I'm road raging at an elderly person. Like when you get up next to that person, some old guy, you're like, oh man, I'm sorry.
The grandma on the wheel like this.
I was at the car wash the other day, and up here in the winter in upstate New York, there's lines at the self-serve car wash, and I had this lady try to fucking run around me, just go right around me, and I was like,
cut the line,
and I just started laying on the horn.
No, that's not happening today.
But then she pulled up, and it was an old lady. It was 2 old ladies, and I was like, I'm so sorry I honked at you. Please go ahead of me.
You would hope they had some sort of thing they really had to get to.
Yeah. Well, you got to help old people out. Jesus Christ. I hope people give me a break when I'm old, because, I'm already slipping here and there, but yeah.
So
you can't road rage at old people.
Anything else on there? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, you brought up school bus passing.
Oh, yeah.
And passing on the right, both things can be very dangerous, but I mean, one time I was down in Lansing, and I was trying to let these 2 young kids, these boys that were, elementary school age, trying to cross a busy road. So I stopped my car, and I had like 4 cars or 5 cars behind me that also stopped, and there wasn't anybody coming this way. So they were like waved, and they were going to run across, and all of a sudden they both stopped, and this asshole totally drove on the shoulder on the right, went all the way around us, almost mowed the 2 of these kids down. So talk about road rage. I mean,
yeah, really. Wow.
That guy I did chase him a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, those kind of people, they need to get arrested. They need to get ticketed.
Oh yeah.
So that they stop doing that.
Well, I wasn't going to call on his plate.
I think schools.
But he got away from me.
Don't some of the school buses have cameras on them now for that kind of stuff? I feel like they might.
Yeah, they do. And if you pass a school bus, you're a real piece of shit.
Well, so I grew up in a rural location, Route 13 up here in central New York, and you've been to my house. It's on a really sharp bend.
Yeah.
And so there was times I remember I never had to cross the road, because we would get on the bus on our side of the road, and then in the afternoon we'd go past it and come back and get off.
Okay.
Right, because it was really an unsafe place to cross the road.
Dude,
it was
those tight bends are no good.
It was a big sharp bend that I lived on. But there was multiple times when cars would come around the bend, the school buses stopped, we're exiting the school bus and slamming on the brakes to stop.
Jesus Christ.
Because they were distracted for that.
I hate places like that. Dude.
And it scares the shit out of you when you're a little kid.
Should scare the shit out of you at any age.
But my school bus driver would get off and go back there and yell at him.
Nice. Well, you always wish there was a way to warn these people, because those blind bends where people haul ass.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, it's a 60 mile an hour zone there.
Very scary place to have to do your business. You don't want to stop on the road or have to back in somewhere. You end up getting creamed, man. It's no good. So anyways, those kind of people suck. So there's just some rules of the road, texting while driving. Now, this is an interesting one. I feel like everybody's texting except for me. I don't ever do it. But Yeah. And you don't do it either. I know both of us are definitely not about that. But if I would be very good at it at this point. I mean, people have been texting and driving for years now.
Yeah.
And most people have gotten pretty freaking good at it. Because there should be a lot more accidents than there are, you'd think.
Well, yeah, I don't know what the stats are. I'm sure they have them on texting accidents.
It's interesting. People are learning how to have this dual attention, that do text and drive, where they're somehow able to continually look down and not wreck. But you catch yourself, even if you're a good texter and driver, you'll catch yourself almost running off the road. It's very dangerous.
So I've done it. I mean, I'm guilty of it.
Yeah, everybody's.
I think I really need to make it, and I'm glad we're bringing this up and talking about it because it is. It's having it sink in a little bit more with me because you're not doing that because when I wasn't texting when I started learning how to drive.
Right.
I'm a good driver. I've never had an accident.
Yeah, good.
Right.
I'm a great driver.
I am able to text and multitask. It's not a good idea.
Dude, the cops do it. Everybody does.
I got a texting ticket one time.
I did.
That should have been enough for me then.
Yeah.
But I got to teach. I got to instill that in my kids' minds.
You can't have that. Texting and driving. People are kind of like that's part of just our cyborg brains developing and evolving with this technology.
Yeah.
And people drive with one eye and text with the other and shit.
It's also the over connection with your phone too. I
tried just now to split my eyes. I tried to look that way down. That's kind of crazy. I don't think it worked out. We'll see how that looks out in the freaking camera. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's going to come across. But anyway, so let's try to be good drivers out there, y'all. Yeah. Let's not text and drive. No. But now, they're bust your ass if they see you even touching your phone.
Yeah, that's what.
Or any device at all. I guess the radio's still cool. You could still fuck with your radio.
When I got that ticket, I wasn't even texting. I had lifted it up high enough, and the cop was at the intersection and just saw it in my hand. That's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
If you are literally touching your phone,
I had mine. I was looking at Google Maps like this.
Yeah, right.
Because I had earbuds. I was talking to a customer on my earbuds, and I had Google Maps going, and they keep the voice quiet when you're on the phone.
Yeah.
So I was like, "What did it say?" And I look out like this for 2 seconds. Some state trooper saw me.
Yeah. Same thing here.
Bitch. And I had a card. I had one of those get out of jail free cards that I got from a state trooper buddy of mine. But it was like back in 2014, so it was all worn out from being in my wallet all these years, and I handed it to him. This guy knew, the cop was a young dude, but he knew the year of that card, which was barely visible.
What is this get out of? What are you talking about?
If you know cops, they have a certain number of cards that they sign their name to and their badge number, and they give them to you.
Is this like an under the table
This is a friends
type
and family thing? No, it's well known, but not everybody knows.
It's not, but
if you have a friend that's a police officer and friends and family, they can give a certain number of cards.
I haven't never heard of this.
These cards aren't a guarantee that you're going to get out of a ticket.
Sure.
But they sure don't hurt.
Yeah.
So if you get pulled over for speeding and the cop and you hand them something, the cop, like I still have one in my pocket.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, I carry it right underneath, and it's actually got me out of trouble.
That.
Well, mine's old, and it's from my brother-in-law, who was a New York City police detective for years. He's retired now, but he was internal affairs after that. Like the guy's he's probably got me under surveillance. He's got his whole family under constant 24-hour surveillance. But he did give me this awesome back in 2021 while he was still a cop.
Yeah.
So this is what one looks like. Here you go. It says DEA, which is Detectives Endowment Association, but it looks like Drug Enforcement Agency. So I'm pretty sure cops thought I was an undercover DEA agent because I got pulled over in West Virginia one night late, and I had this under my license, and I pulled out my license, and the cop had his flashlight right there.
Oh, so you kind of like flashed
it says
away.
DEA 2021, like it was 2021 when it happened, so it was like perfect.
Yeah, and they're familiar with that kind of stuff.
And he's like, I don't know what that car was, but they just came and handed me back my license.
Huh.
Actually, it was the supervisor came and handed me my license, and they got me right out of there. So I don't know. But either way, you get these cards if you know a cop.
Yeah.
They may get you out of a ticket. They may not.
Okay.
This time it didn't. And the son of a bitch saw my card. I didn't hand him this one. I handed him the state trooper one. And my friend had just retired. So he was like, he goes, how often do you know him? Like, that's an old card. He might not even talk to this guy. I go, I work out with him 4 days a week. At this time, I was working out with the guy in the mornings, 4 days a week. And he wouldn't believe me. So he gave me the goddamn ticket for touching which is a total bunch of bullshit. You plead not guilty. Then you plead guilty to a lesser charge, which in my case was parking within 20 feet of a fire hydrant or whatever.
It's something completely arbitrary
charge.
Right.
They just make up. It's total fabrication. It's total corruption.
That is a weird, and it's very common and very standard.
We all put up with it.
Yeah.
And then it cost me, it was right around Christmas too. It sucked. It cost me, then I had to take a safe driving course about how not to text on your phone.
Yeah.
And that cost me $90 or whatever on top of the $250 ticket.
Yeah.
So they really screw you. And then but you don't get points on your license, at least. If you got to plead not guilty.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, watch out for them, because if you're touching your phone, don't text anyway. I don't want you texting while I'm out driving. If I'm texting, that's one thing.
Voice to text.
Anyways, so I was going to tell you, I don't know if this is a good time to tell you, but I had the craziest drunk driving story since we're talking about rules of the road and all this stuff.
Yeah.
This crazy freaking thing happened to me, man. I was living in West Virginia, and my fiance, Justine, I've been with her for years. Her father was alive at this time, and he was a musician, so he knew a lot of people around there. And there was this rich old lady that they knew who had this kind of beautiful old Southern type mansion. And she liked to throw big parties. That was her thing. She was really old, and she wore like really gaudy jewelry and makeup. She recently passed. Her name was Betty Farmer.
Oh, yeah.
Her name was Betty Farmer. I'll just say her name.
Yeah.
She's passed.
Yeah.
Wonderful lady, but she loved Zemph. Justine's father was named Zemph. He was a piano player, wicked piano player.
Yeah, I've heard about him.
And Zemph would be hired to go down and play with his friends in the band, and they would do the entertainment for the parties a lot, but he would have been invited anyway. But so we were all down there. So this is this big catered affair, and I'm there, and I take one drink. I got one drink at the bar and drank it, and we hung out for an hour and a half and then left. And it was a foggy night. So I said, I'll drive. She was like, you sure you had a drink, girl? I was like, it was one drink. It's been like an hour and a half. I don't feel buzzed at all. I'm fine. So I didn't trust either one of them to drive us home in the fog. So I jump in the car and off we go. Now, this is a Labor Day party. I don't drink very often at all. And I sure as fuck don't drink and drive. So it was like so rare that I would have had a drink at any point, but let alone be driving within hours of it. We get up to the one town that's in between Betty Farmer's mansion and where we lived. And it was, there was all of a sudden we pull up and there's a roadblock.
Okay.
In this town.
Yeah.
And there's police cars, lights flashing. And I was just thinking, like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I might have vodka on my breath. I might blow a fucking.
And you can't really turn around at that point.
No, you're done.
Close enough. Like
you're going.
They're going to follow you.
I'm already going up the little at the roller coaster,
Yeah.
Just about to get to the top. So I get up to it. And of course the cop leans in. Hey, how you doing? How do you drink? How do you think to drink tonight? And I'm fucking stupid and honest. And I figure he's going to smell the vodka. So I'm not going to start off with a lie. And you should lie probably. But I said what every fucking drunk person that's ever gotten a DUI said. I had one drink.
Well,
I was telling the truth.
Okay.
All right. So I had one goddamn drink.
Yeah. I see
so
that.
he goes, oh, okay. So will you agree to take a breathalyzer test? Of course, So I'm like, well, hopefully this one drink is going to blow up now. Yeah. It's been a while.
It's got to be pretty close in proximity.
Yeah. I blew in the thing. It came up a 0.12.
Really?
Off of one fucking drink.
How long?
I was at a catered. It was a catered affair too. This guy was a professional bartender. He must have I remember the guy. I was like, it was a bunch of old people, and I was a young person there, and it was like a black bartender. He was probably trying to hook me up.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. He and I kind of like hit it off a little bit, so I think he was trying to give me a little extra in my drink, but that's not doing me any favors.
You're strong, person, and your body size and stuff.
Yeah, you would think how strong. How many shots did he put in there?
People our size would process. You can process a drink in an hour.
Not too bad.
So I'd eaten something. Must have been a double.
No, I'd eaten some food and stuff, but nonetheless, I blew a 0.12 off of whatever amount of alcohol this guy put in my drink.
They're not. You can't really argue.
That's too high.
Right.
Too high.
Yeah.
So I told him. I said I looked at him and he could see in my eyes. I think because I said I had one drink. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So they said they get me out of the car for a field sobriety test. Now I'm in dress shoes. I don't wear dress shoes. They got me pulled over. I'm on an incline going into the. It's by this bridge by the river in Ronceverte, West Virginia. I get out of the car, and I start performing the field sobriety test. I got cops all around me. They're all watching the spectacle as I'm out there. And sure enough, like I'm passing this goddamn test pretty good. I mean, I'm doing as good as you're going to do with a field sobriety test.
0.12, yeah, you'd probably be doing.
I was doing well. I had my leg up counting to 30, and I got to 30, and I'm like, you want me to keep going? Like, and the other cops were looking around like, this guy's not drunk.
Yeah.
Okay. Nonetheless, the guy who was in charge was one of the top DUI guys, and he doesn't give people breaks. So he arrests me, even though I clearly fucking passed.
Did you do the breathalyzer?
I did the breathalyzer first.
At the site, at the scene.
At the scene.
Oh yeah.
So now he says I failed the field sobriety test, but I didn't, and I know that I didn't because the cops were looking at my fiance. She said that they were like,
"Did you do the breathalyzer before the field
sobriety test?"
So they already had you fucked.
Yeah, I was already fucked. Yeah. But I did it anyway. But I passed, so this helps.
Yeah, I know.
I'm looking a lot less like a liar as time's going on, that I did have one drink. Now, I don't know what amount of alcohol this paid bartender put into this, but he should have put the one shot that he's supposed to put in.
Yeah, sure.
Nonetheless, he says he doesn't handcuff me. He goes, "You're under arrest for DUI." which my heart sinks, you know, I'm telling him, like, I don't even drink. This is like so rare that I even have a drink, dude.
Yeah.
And anyway, I get in the car with him and he drives me to the little police station there and he books me in. But I ended up just talking with the guy. Like, I'm hanging out there for a few hours and I ended up just being personable with him, talking with him. He started telling me all about his family and the kid, you know, I won't get the guy's name, but he's telling me personal stuff, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
well, you weren't.
I had a nice conversation. I wasn't sitting there like a thug, like
you didn't stumble in,
and
you know,
right.
You know,
and I wasn't being like I never once asked him to let me off, or I never once complained. I just talked to him like a human being. And I was just waiting to go. I just want to go home. So I'm just talking to him like I would anybody on my way to getting the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, that night, so it's like 3, 4 in the morning by the time Justine and her father come down to get me. They're worried sick because at this time, her father had cancer and I was driving him to a lot of appointments and stuff. Like, he relied on me to drive him.
Right. So that was probably sitting
It was going to be a pain in the ass, like how we're going to get around now. And also, I'm pretty broke at the time. I was a sign painter. I wasn't making any money.
So I've had a DWE.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe I'll save it for another night so we can do other stuff.
Yeah. Well,
because it's a, you know, but
it's a big cost,
financial burden.
Absolutely. You're going to pay thousands of dollars.
And with your situation, which is, you know, in terms of the amount that you weren't in a really unsafe situation.
Right.
You weren't hammered behind the wheel. Same thing with me.
Yeah.
And it is a whole long story. It's kind of funny and kind of messed up.
But nonetheless, the important thing is that it's a big burden. So let me tell you what ends up happening.
I ended up spending like $7,000-$8,000 to get out of that thing.
Yeah, and I didn't have this.
It was between 5 and 10.
Yeah, it was definitely going to be around 5 at least to get through. I didn't have anything like that. So that night I barely slept, and I was home, and you know, it was already late as fuck when I got there. So I'm out on the porch swing the next morning having a cigarette, just kind of thinking about what I'm going to do. And I remember all of a sudden this white unmarked police car comes rolling down my street and pulls in my driveway. And it's the car I'd ridden in the night before.
Okay.
And I just was up on the second floor balcony on the chair swing. And I just looked down him and so I ran downstairs. I was like, I don't know what this is about at all.
Right.
And I go down and I said, it was the guy who had arrested me for DUI. And when I say he arrested me, he booked me, he fingerprinted me. It was all put through.
Yeah. It's probably a small trooper station or something.
Yeah, it was a little local police station.
Okay,
but I was processed through it. This DUI was, as far as I knew, was on the books.
Oh yeah.
I go downstairs. He walks up to me. He says, "Listen," he goes, "I don't cut people breaks." He goes, "But I talked to my captain or my whoever it was this morning. I said I felt like you were really being sincere with me."
Yeah.
And he goes, "And I believe in cutting people a break that are honest and sincere." And he goes, "So I'd like you to go get your paperwork and I'm going to tear it up for you."
Wow.
And I went upstairs and got that paperwork and he took it with him.
Did you have that? Did you have your card that night?
No, I didn't. All I had was talking to him like a human being, I suppose.
Wow.
And being honest.
Well, and I think
I was honest.
They've seen the whole gamut of people getting DWIs.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I got it. It was amazing.
That was the right thing.
It was like God intervening. I was like, I'm so glad that God worked on his heart.
Don't mention his name.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that God worked on his heart that night to let him know, like, because I think he knew my situation too, where we were staying with her sick father. You know, there was reasons to kind of cut me a slack on this.
Was it it was a town, you said?
So it was a little town.
West Virginia.
Now, this guy was a cop in 2 different towns.
Okay.
He was a cop 18 hours a day. He loved being a cop. And he was telling me stories that night about how one of his favorite nephews or somebody had gotten pulled over by a neighboring town's cop.
Yeah.
And they called him up because they knew him because he was well known. And they said, "Hey, we got your nephew here. What do you want us to do?" And he said, "Book him." You know, he doesn't cut people breaks, but he cut me a break based on God working on his heart.
Something aligned. Yeah, that's amazing.
So I'm so grateful to him for this day. I won't give his name, but I want to shout out there. You did me a solid, and I really appreciate it. And it helped my life go in a better direction. I did almost drown in a river soon after.
Yeah.
But thank God. Anyway, thank God for that. I'm so grateful. And for that reason, I don't drink and drive.
Yeah.
Never have since. You won't ever catch me drinking and driving.
That's great.
That's good. So I got away with it once. You don't push your luck when that happens.
Yeah,
so.
No, you get one pass with those. The second time around, I mean, we can. Yeah, there's lots of laws and stuff, and
there's lots of laws you have to keep track of. But one of them, drinking and driving is a dangerous thing.
It's very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Extremely dangerous. Yeah.
It's worse than texting.
If you hurt somebody else, you'd never live it down.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I have funny you bring that up. A friend of mine, a former friend, I should say, even though I never throw anybody away, man. The guy's always going to be a friend in my heart, you know, and I feel like I need to reach out to him soon, but he looks a lot like you, which is fucking weird. I was telling you about this guy. I'm not going to bring his name up.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
He was a notorious drinker who'd had a lot of DWIs over the years.
Yeah.
To the point where they were putting him in jail for 3 or 6 months at a time after he'd get him. Then he'd go back to his life and then he'd get another one. It's just like he never learned. He never could get out of this cycle.
Yeah.
And it was so destructive. And everybody that knew him, as far as I knew, cut him off. I was like the last one to cut him off.
Yeah.
But it was never getting better.
Yeah.
And eventually he ended up getting into an accident. It was like Christmas Eve, and he hit a family in a van. It was a whole long story. He ended up killing 3 of them.
That's
and now he's doing 17 and a half years in jail, in prison.
Yeah.
And this was a guy I grew up with, man. It's so weird to see.
All this, those are the.
I pray for him. I pray for him because, but
the hardest stories to hear.
I pray for him. I pray for his soul that he can be redeemed through this in some way. That he can come out of it on the other end a better person. And help and try to put back some of what he's taken away. Because it was when I read that article of what had happened, I was just so devastated. It was a young person and his grandfather and his mother. I think it was a family. Yeah. Okay, and. Yeah, it was a horrible thing. He fled the scene. I mean, he as it was, he was house sitting for these rich people at the beach, and he stole their Land Rover. It was like a Range Rover. It was up in Lewis, Delaware. It's a rich neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
He was house sitting for people, stole their car, I guess, and he had an ounce of mushrooms on him or something, and he was driving, they say, at between 85 and 90 miles an hour down a 50-mile-an-hour coastal highway route.
Yeah.
And these people pulled out, probably not realizing that he was flying.
Yeah.
And he didn't stop, and he hit him, and he fled the scene. He left the car there, and he lied about it, and he tried to escape after that. And it's 17 and a half years is a long time in prison.
It is, and honestly, I don't even know if that's long enough. But
it's hard to. It's an unforgivable thing in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But because he was an old friend of mine, I see the guy. It's like it breaks my heart. That's all I can say for everybody, especially for the victims.
I mean, the best thing he could ever do is get out and advocate and teach and
hopefully he's a hell of a musician.
help people that were in a similar situation. And
He's a talented guy that had a lot of good qualities, but unfortunately the drinking and whatever narcissism that kept him doing this cycle.
Right.
So, well, anyway, not to be a bummer, but there's some crazy things that happen in the world.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, that's mostly what I had for my notes today. But, dude. There's always things to talk about. I guess. We did tackle some pretty important subjects tonight, but what I want to tell people out there is, be good to each other, be good to yourself, forgive yourself for shame you have, and reach into your past. If you're holding animosity towards people and you can find forgiveness, it'll set you free. As I've always said, you have to try to forgiving people is such a great thing for yourself to do.
Yeah.
And I really, whatever keeps people in these cycles of addiction and drinking and destruction, those are the things that have to be dealt with more than the addiction. It's whatever causes the addiction that really needs to be tackled to prevent it in the future.
Yes, true.
And that's the hard part. That's where the self-improvement and the self-discovery comes from, and being really honest, taking that honest look in the mirror and, living life authentically is the key to coming out of the darkness. And, God has delivered me out of the lion's den many times. So I appreciate it, God. Hopefully and I know God will deliver each and every one of us out of the lion's den. If you trust God and you surrender to God. Those are the two things. Just trust the plan and surrender.
Well, you've always got great words on the exit.
I try
the exit comments.
Try to leave it on a high note.
I don't even think there's much to add there.
Well, God bless you.
I'm glad that I'm able to do this with you.
Me too, man.
And
that's awesome.
Number 10 in the books.
Right on, brother.
Cheers.
Number 10 and 10, it'll be 1,000 soon. So stay tuned, and we love y'all, and thanks for tuning in once again.
All right. We'll see you guys.
See y'all.